Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. Hey, all these different issues going on with the VA's IT systems have sparked some additional eyes, and a letter has now been sent out regarding this. Now, if you're not up to speed, these IT issues with the VA have now affected, 100,000 or more veterans with their claims, and that's just unacceptable. First, you had the 32,000 that were identified with claims issues, claims not being worked on for about 5 years or so in some cases. Then you had the inability to file your PACT Act claim right at the deadline time frame, so they had to extend the deadline. Then you had this additional almost 60,000 claims that were found that are dating back 10, 11, 12 years ago. So there's a lot of issues, and who knows when this is going to be corrected. The chairman of the House Committee on Veterans Affairs, Representative Bost, has issued a letter, and I wanted to read that to you and see if we can get any insights on what's going on with all these issues with the VA. So please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. All right, jumping into it. Chairman Bost, and then has a quote: "The status quo with VA's IT systems isn't cutting it." This letter actually just came out on the 7th of September, so a few days ago, and I wanted to share it with you. So today, House Committee on Veterans Affairs Chairman Mike Bost has released the following statement after he sent a letter to the Department of Veterans Affairs VA Secretary regarding a recent revelation from the department that technical problems have plagued the department's online document submission system, including both va.gov and its predecessor system, eBenefits. So for those that remember, everything as far as we were concerned from the veteran side, especially with regard to filing a claim, tracking your claim progress, all that stuff, getting your letters printed out, that type of stuff was all through eBenefits. Then it switched over, kind of slowly migrating bit by bit over to the regular va.gov website. So this issue has, again, plagued the department's online document submission system, including both the va.gov, which is the current, and its predecessor system, eBenefits, and affected tens of thousands of veterans over the course of a decade. That's the current, most recent find, the almost 60,000 veterans claims that have been identified. I am incredibly concerned about this recent revelation from the department that the va.gov filing system for disability benefits has not functioned properly over the course of a decade and resulted in underpayments and overpayments to tens of thousands of veterans and their families. So part of that in there, from my understanding, is that many of these almost 60,000 claims had to do with adding dependents or removing dependents from your file with the VA. So if you were trying to add benefits, you should have been getting more money, but you weren't, so you're underpaid. And then the other way around, trying to remove a dependent, right? Your kid got too old, now they're not on there anymore, or you went through a divorce or what have you, and you're removing dependents. Now you should be getting a lower pay, but it didn't happen, so now you're getting overpaid, right? So I think that's what they're talking about here for the most part. So let's go ahead and jump back into it. So underpayments and overpayments to tens of thousands of veterans and their families, said Chairman Bost. This is especially disturbing given the fact that American taxpayers have invested billions, with a B, of dollars in VA's IT systems to ensure mistakes like this never happen, and that we are providing veterans and their families with the level of service they have earned. But it's clear to me that VA hasn't been doing that. I'm calling for full accountability from the Secretary of the VA to get to the bottom of this, because the status quo with VA's IT systems isn't cutting it. Simply put, this tiger needs to change its stripes. Then the letter here is, Dear Secretary, early yesterday evening, the committee was notified that the Department of Veterans Affairs had uncovered 2 technical problems with VA.gov that prevented veterans from submitting important necessary information related to their disability claims. Most troubling, the first error could have occurred as early as 2011, and VA estimates that approximately 56,000 veterans who attempted to file their request to update their dependency status in VA.gov or its predecessor, eBenefits, were impacted. The error resulted in VA failing to add or remove a dependent from those veterans' profiles in a timely manner, which in turn may have caused over or underpayments in monthly disability compensation checks to tens of thousands of veterans. It is unacceptable that VA failed to notice and fix this systematic error for over a decade. The second error began on July 27, 2023, after a software update to VA.gov and it prevented approximately 900 veterans from accessing the Notice of Disagreement form that would have allowed them to appeal an unfavorable decision for VA disability, for veteran disability compensation. VA has yet to identify the exact number of veterans impacted by this problem. These 2 glitches are just the latest in a string of electronic filing issues that continue to plague your department, which I will note has a multi-billion-dollar IT budget. The most recent of which occurred just a month ago when approximately 5,600 veterans encountered an error when attempting to submit their intent to file on VA.gov before the 1-year deadline for backdated benefits is authorized by the PACT Act. I am incredibly frustrated with this pattern of technical problems in VA.gov and associated systems, particularly because tens of thousands of veterans and their families have been directly affected by these mishaps. And millions of veterans and their families, their caregivers, their dependents, and their survivors rely on the VA website, which is supposed to be a pillar of a more modern, user-friendly VA. I request an immediate staff-level briefing on these 2 problems that will include answers to the following questions. What were the root causes of the failure of VA.gov to receive and process veterans' dependency status updates and allow access to the Notice of Disagreement form? If VA first began investigating the dependency status issue in August of 2021, why has it taken over 2 years to inform Congress or impacted veterans? Good question. How did VA arrive at the estimate of 56,000 veterans impacted by the dependency status issue? How many more veterans could have been affected by the error in VA.gov and eBenefits? What is VA's plan for handling overpayments and underpayments to veterans who attempted to change their dependency status? How will VA ensure that every veteran who was prevented from submitting a Notice of Disagreement will have their appeal processed? Do these situations have any connection to the failure of VA.gov to establish claims filed by the approximately 32,000 veterans? VA began processing those lost claims in August 2023, over half a year after VA notified Congress of that issue. Will VA delay in processing veterans' dependency status updates and Notice of Disagreements? Who are the individuals who are responsible for keeping track of the failures of the systems, and what steps are being taken to ensure accountability for these repeated failures? I appreciate your cooperation in the matter, and I look forward to hearing VA's responses as to how it intends to remedy these technical problems in a way that holds veterans harmless and upholds their confidence in your department's ability to deliver them the level of service they have earned. Sincerely, Mike Bost. So that is the most recent letter, and I will tell you, that there has been many letters regarding IT's failure or IT failures within VA by this committee and by the chairman, Representative Bost. So with that, we'll go ahead and conclude it there. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.